A lot of the states are unprepared to provide 24-hour medical support. Now, that's to be understood, Chris, because I'll tell you why. You get 5,000 people show up, that's maybe an exaggeration, right. But let's say 500, 600 show up at the emergency room. You know what it's like now for common cold and all that. You know, you see, whenever I go to the emergency room, it's brutal. Right. You know, you got to wait, but imagine triple that. You know, and all these people show up, and the medical teams are going to be inundated with a lot of sickness. Okay. Now, another thing that they have to, I've got something coming in, by the way, from Federal Emergency Management Agency. I think we're going to be able to play some of it. I think the concern is that the first responders, your firemen and police officers, they're also going to get sick if this thing breaks out. Okay, and it will break out, by the way. It's just a matter of when. They are definitely sure it's going to break out. The two states that they claim are not ready for any emergency, okay? America's Health found, this organization found out that Florida and North Carolina are the best prepared to handle bioterrorism, which you're going to, you don't know what's going on there. The least prepared states are Alaska and Massachusetts. So if you go to your emergency management people, or you went to the hospitals and you said, do you have a contingency plan? I don't know if they really can have one. I don't know. It's just too big of a thing, you know? So you're going to have to wait and see. I mean, there's so much to this. But don't kick it aside and think it's not a danger.
Okay.
That thing is coming. It may not be here now.
Well, it is here.
But look out.
3,009, let me tell you something. 3,009 cases in the United States is enough for me.
Oh, yeah.
45 states is enough for me. 107 cases in Massachusetts is enough for me.
All right.
3 deaths is enough for me. Now, let me ask you this. Now, let's take this to another level, okay? Had New Orleans been prepared for Hurricane Katrina or done something, we wouldn't have the mass that we have there. Although we don't want to scare people out there. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is as a place for healthcare, as a place to take care of someone, let's say we have to prepare for the worst on our own. When we start something, we start a medical team, we have to say, what is the worst outcome that could happen? Let's be ready. Because you never know. No. You never know. Disaster strikes at any time. A twister happens anytime, right? We don't know. We do not know. Today's day and age, we don't know. Mother Nature, sometimes things happen, Roland. We don't know what happens, okay?
They have a vaccine called Tamiflu, which it helps to defeat the existing virus that we have in the world today, but it's not a cure for it. It just slows it down and it helps your system defeat it. I think my biggest concern is the attitude of the people in charge, if you will, that, well, don't worry about it, that's our job, we'll take care of it when the time comes, you know. I don't want to be told by anyone that we're prepared for any type of disaster, no matter what. That's a lot of malarkey. You are not prepared for any type of disaster. And this definitely could be a disaster. But don't believe me, and don't believe you, Chris. But when the day comes someday, and I hope it never happens, but if it comes, and it will come, people are going to remember that we did this show, okay? And that we try to at least be concerned. I'm not warning anybody. That's your responsibility. But it's all here. Well, it's all here.
Well, wouldn't it be? You know what? I like the way you just said that because, there's an old saying. When you jump out of a plane, they suggest you pull the ripcord. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're just suggesting that get yourself informed, and know what you need to do. Let me just tell you one thing, Roland. CDC, Center for Control, as anyone can go and get. I have tons of information here that is so prudent. It is so important. Okay, this information. They call and this is the big headline here. It's a new virus emerges. It's a novel influenza A, which is ADH1N1. It's obviously the new flu virus of swine origin, which was first detected in April 2009. And this is from the CDC, so I'm not making this up. The virus is infecting people and is spreading from person to person and has sparked a growing outbreak of illness in the United States, with an increasing number of cases being reported internationally as well. CDC, here's a big word, anticipates that there will be more cases, more hospitalizations, and more deaths associated with this new virus in the coming days and weeks, because the population has little to no immunity against it. Okay? Now, that bothers me. Now, how can you say, don't worry about it, don't forget about it? But CDC's telling you that this is coming and we're not prepared for it. Okay?
No.
We're not really getting educated. All right? And then they go on to that the May 8th flu view found that the number of people visiting their doctors with influenza-like illnesses is higher than expected in the United States for this time of year. Don't worry, it's just a normal seasonal flu, right? Just a normal flu. You also have something I found very interesting is that the influenza virus, the H1N1, it spreads in the same way that the regular seasonal flu virus spreads, mainly through cough and sneezes of people who are sick with the virus. Like I said before, watch how you take care of your sanitary issues. Now, the seasonal flu is gone. The seasonal flu is gone. We're entering late spring. Summers are right around the corner. Not normal for us to be sick this way, ladies and gentlemen, okay? In the south, in the southern hemisphere, yes, because it's winter time there. Not in the northern hemisphere, okay? So this is absolutely a cause for concern. There's also background. Please go on the site. They have the background, the symptoms, how you avoid the contact with people, how you treat the seriously ill, the emergency warning signs, protect yourself in your community. They also have stuff on how the flu spreads, the medications that Roland brought up, they do have them there. And they have Tylenol will help you, Advil, Aleve for pain, but also Tamiflu is the big thing. Tamiflu
Right now.
for right now. The CDC is working on putting together some vaccinations, but they don't know if they're going to work yet. They're disseminating them to different states. Some states are doing their own, but this is a cause for concern. I have here a press briefing transcript that is about 7 pages long from today. They do this every day, ladies and gentlemen. If you go to the CDC, every day they have this. It's a transcript. You can even listen to it on audio if you want. But I have the whole transcript of different people asking different questions to the head of the CDC, okay, Dave Diego, and he's answering these questions. There's a lot of information in there. There's a lot of stuff that you should be informed about. Now, I went also to one, and I forgot, I don't know if I told you this. I went to Council on Aging website. Well, there is no website for Council on Aging, okay? You look for the link, it brings you to the regular Pride Citywide website. Click on the departments, and it tells you, Council on Aging, contact this person, that's it. That's all you got, that's it. There's nothing on on the city's website for emergency crisis. There's nothing at all, okay? Shame on them. That's their job. The Department of Health, right on that website, they should have a website for anything. If you have concerns, your local government should be taking care of their local people. That's what they're there for.
Well, it gets tiring after a while because you talk about it, you try to make people aware of it. No one just seems to care. No one cares anymore. And, we were sitting in here before the show started, and one of the young ladies came into the room over there where there's a soda machine, just sneezed her head off. Didn't cover her face, her nose, or anything, just sneezing. If this young lady was infected with any kind of a virus, any kind, could be a common cold, you know how many people she would have contaminated?
Absolutely.
One person gets on a plane, contaminates the plane. Those people go to their different homes, different cities, different towns. They start contaminating. You got to understand that. There's a reason why you wash your hands. There's a reason why when you go to services today, they don't want you shaking hands per se. And the big thing, you shouldn't bite your fingernails.
Absolutely
You know
not.
what I'm saying? I see people do it. Matter of fact, I'm a little guilty of that myself. But you got to get out of that habit, okay? But you could talk about. I've been up at 2 o'clock in the morning, watching the not reports on this particular flu, but the avian flu, which is the bird flu. Now they're concerned that if the two get together, and flu, these viruses live,
Oh, of course.
They don't want to die.
No.
So they practically try to keep you alive. And the interesting thing, they call it a virologist. That's what you are. A doctor is a virologist, all right? If I'm saying it right, and I think I am. You got to see this because it gets into your lungs. It's a respiratory thing, correct.